biological energy. You've got to start over on what is the most important thing we do in life, which is love and reproduce.
I want us to be in love again. I want to find out if this can be possible for us. That he didn't even really say anything. He just kind of made it known almost psychically that no. Like, he never said no. He never said anything like, I just can't be with you right now, I just broke up with somebody. There was none of that kind of, like, you know, normal interchange. And it's just so, it's kind of like the go-to place for me when I feel like I need hope. You know, like, the promise of romance is such a hopeful feeling.
I got married when I was 21 with the expectation that that was going to last forever. You know, that's what we're conditioned to believe and think, that this is till death do us part. And you know, when you look at what's going on in society, I mean, it's clearly not till death do us part for now a majority of couples.
And the big illusion is there is a residual belief in most of the population that we naturally know how to be married and we know how to be parents. But if you look at our society and civilization, we clearly don't. If you look at all the books on our shelves that have been written about how to be married, clearly nobody agrees with that, but it's a sort of an unconscious thing.
First of all, we have to realize that this notion that we have today of a man and a woman living together, sometimes with one or two children, we call that the nucleus family, is new, is very new, is like 100 years old. Didn't existed before, never. So for the first time now, we isolate, we take people out of their environment, and then we take them to the city, and when we put them in a little room, and they're supposed to be a family. I mean, this is not the... Before we had extended family. We have all the people living together, the young, the old, the grandparents. I mean, to separate the grandparents from the grandchildren is a mistake. We know that. So this notion of taking people, a man and a woman, out of their environment, putting them in a box, and then expecting them to be happy to be alone together, if I can say that, is very weird, is very new.
100 years ago, marriage was just as fragile as it is today, literally just as fragile. 100 years ago, your husband or wife was likely to either desert you or die. Today we divorce instead. In fact, historians now believe that modern divorce is just a social response to a pattern that has always been in the human animal. In fact, we're seeing more long marriages today than we did ever in human history because we're living longer. We're now seeing 35 and 40-year marriages. I know a couple who've been married for 73 years. You would never found that. During all of human evolution, you really wouldn't have found that.
This issue of staying together for 50 or 60 or 70 years was unimaginable. This is a new problem that you guys are exploring. It's a new problem in the scope of human history.
Watch out for the lonely people. They're hypnotized, waiting for the end of the world to wake them back up.
If you want me to be candid, monogamy doesn't work.
I didn't realize that adultery was as common until after I went through it. Because once I went through it, then everybody, all my friends started coming out of the closet going, hey, well, I've had this problem. Hey, my husband cheated on me, or my wife cheated on me. And, you know, it's more common than people think.
The statistics are overwhelming. In that sermon I told you about where I talked about keeping your word and I talked about adultery, I quoted a British study that said something like 70% of men at one point or another, you know, have an extramarital sexual experience. Now that may be, you know, a prostitute one night at a convention in Cleveland, you know, not an ongoing, truly adulterous, you know, affair of some kind. So there's a range of experience, but it is a line that most men, you know, cross, and one I suspect most women know most men cross.
Have I been cheated on? Yes. In college, I found a guy in bed with another girl. That was fun. I almost crawled onto the bed to say hello and realized there's another lump there. Oops. That was fun. And, you know, a few other times where just younger stuff. As an adult, if I have been, I don't know about it.
So then I go online and find out that he has a profile on an online dating site that says he's married and looking for secret rendezvous. So then I go back to his emails and I start going through his sent files and deleted files and started finding all these correspondence with all these different girls and just realized that he had been cheating on me basically for the past 6 months. That was one of the most devastating days of my life, to find out that your husband had pretty much a secret life behind your back.
Overwhelmingly men who are struggling with this issue. Look, we're biologically built to want to impregnate the world, you know. I mean, we just are. So that's, you know, it's a very difficult struggle for men, and I think it comes down to being honest in your marriage about what you want and what you need and how often you want it and need it, and a lot of people aren't willing to have that conversation.
She took me to dinner to ask me questions because her and her husband were having problems. She actually cheated on her husband, had an affair for a few months, got pregnant. He found out about the affair and they didn't know who the baby was, or who the father was of the baby. So for 9 months, she had to go through a pregnancy with her husband, and he didn't know if it was his baby or not until it got tested after it was born. I can't imagine going through something like that.
Although these three brain systems, lust, romantic love, and attachment, are often interrelated in largely mysterious ways, they can also be disconnected from each other. You can feel deep attachment to one person while you feel intense romantic love for somebody else, while you feel the sex drive for a group of people unrelated to either of the other two. And this is where the human animal is in a pickle. I mean, all of us at some point in our lives have lain in bed at night and tried to decide what to do about these conflicting emotions.
But in terms of monogamy, true monogamy, like in the relationship I'm in now, there's no question. I mean, cheating is bad, 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 bad.
I chose to believe in a man that had left his first wife for his second wife, who left his second wife for his third wife, which was me, who then went on to have affairs.